Hey everyone, welcome back to the ZT podcast. This is episode 39, and this episode marks the end of an era. This will be the last podcast that you see in this location. This will be, I'm not sure if the last, but one of the last videos you see in this location here. I've finished university. I am days away from moving out. I have already had my graduation, which I will talk a bit about, and just talk about my uni experience a little bit, and just kind of hang out with you guys and talk about where I've been, because this last year has been an interesting one, and it's been a very, very surreal time that I'm in right now in terms of being finished with uni finally. So I guess if you want to sit down and have this warbling on in the background as I yabber on to the camera, then now's a good time to have this on in another tab while you, I don't know, do something else. Just enjoy, sit back and relax. But yeah, welcome to the podcast. It's been such a busy time for me. It's been so weird, and I'm kind of glad that this final podcast in this location is a solo one, so I can kind of not really vent, but kind of just verbalize all that's happened and all that is gonna happen to the camera, as like these podcasts, at least these solo ones, have almost become not a therapy session of sorts, but like a soundboard, like a sounding board. I can like talk what I'm thinking about stuff. I guess what I talk about first is where I've been, what I've been up to, and from there we'll just kind of riff and see where this podcast goes for the next hour. So I finished university. This marks just over 4 years since I started uni. I started it or just under 4 years maybe. I started uni in September of 2019. And my God, what a journey it's been throughout all of uni. If you guys have been keeping up with the channel since then, or been keeping up with the podcast since then, it's been a mad journey. And I mean, and as well as that, this podcast started during that time in September 2019, and it's poetic that this is going to be one of the last videos I film in this place. It's poetic that this is one of the, like, an episode of this podcast is one of the last things that I record as, well, not a uni student, because I'm not even that anymore, because I've graduated already, but the fact that it's over now is really surreal and bittersweet, mostly sweet, just because university has been, it's had its ups and downs, but overall it's been a bit more of a headache than it's been worth. I guess I'll just like get into like graduation first, so which I know is like I'll kind of work backwards, I guess. I know that's not the order that people usually tell a story, but things have never been conventional when it comes to this channel or this podcast. But yeah, so graduation has been and gone. We had it, I think 4 days ago. Went as well as can be expected. Both my parents were there. It was very emotional, very, very just such a sigh of relief to have that done, because it is like because once you get your graduation done with uni, you don't realise it until you do a graduation, but it is very much, it does hit you at graduation. You don't think that it will, but it really does, because on the day I just I didn't feel stress. I just felt this like every emotion that I was feeling was so heightened. Like this really is the end of an era, I was thinking, and I'm still feeling it now, because these last 2 weeks have been a lot of that transitioning from life here to what comes next, and it's just been crazy. There's no other word for it but crazy. But yeah, I wore the big robe, I wore the big fuck off hat. I did it all, dude. And actually, no, I still have the hat. You know, I'm gonna show you it. Hold on, I'll be back. Stay right there. I'm gonna riff while I find it. Oh, there's that. Where is it? Okay, got it. Cool. So yeah, I got the hat, and shall I put it? Fuck it, I'll put it on. Why not? Yeah. So I did it. Oh wait, no. Also, I learned this has to go on the left side of your face. This thing that dangles down, it can't just go anywhere. Oh, that's another thing. This hat falling off. That reminded me. This hat doesn't fucking fit my head. When you basically in lead up to graduation, you need to book the robe beforehand. You don't just grab it on the day. You've got to do all this farting about, just trying to organise what you need to do for it. Also organise parking and all. There's so much that goes into it on the graduate side, especially if you've got guests coming to watch you, like my parents in my case. Yeah, and obviously booking additional seats beyond just the 2 that you're allowed. Forget about it. Like in the lead up to graduation, I was desperately looking forward to also inviting 2 family friends that have like been really supportive towards me and my parents throughout this entire uni process, and I really wanted them to come, but due to the lack of seats that are available, I couldn't. So we're compensating though. We've got like a contingency. We're going to go for like a graduation dinner after the fact, when everyone's free, so it's just more convenient. Oh, there's a train past my window. The amount of times that I've like recorded like a podcast or just a video of someone, and then a loud beep 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 train or like a car going past has like interrupted the video. I've just had to like cut and then stop the video and then restart not from the beginning, but cut that bit out. But I won't miss that. After this, that's one thing that I do not miss about this place, is how much noise pollution there is whenever I do record videos. But yeah, so yeah, graduation was good. It was about as good as can be expected. It was just, it's a nice event to kind of make it official. It's over. You're not a student anymore. And I'm not a student anymore. I did consider the idea of doing a master's after the fact, but with how strenuous the entire just education system has been, and its shortcomings, at least when it comes to dealing with me, it's kind of put me off the idea. As well as that, obviously, the fact that it's film that I would be studying in some form. It's a practical course, and so there's only so much you can learn about it in education. Sometimes you just gotta get your hands on the camera and practice. Like, there's only so much you can be taught. Sometimes you just gotta go out there and do the trial by fire thing. And that's kind of what I learned very early on at uni, that kind of education is really just asinine when it comes to learning anything in the arts. That's not a hard and fast rule. Sometimes you've got to learn the basics. Like, I learned how to edit more like a professional because I went to uni. I also learned how to use Blackmagic cameras, and also learned how to set up lighting rigs without nearly killing an actor. There's so much that you do learn, in education that kind of prepares you for the professional world. But some of those things you can learn just straight up in the industry, especially when it's an industry that is very much, it's who you know, what you know, compared to what you know. It's very much something that I don't think I regret going to university. There's stuff that I regret happening in university that I'd wish I'd been more prepared to face in the moment, but I don't think I'd take it back. I feel at times that I would take back the second year of university. That was the year that kind of pushed me over the edge to wanting to drop out, and then I did. Well, I didn't. I took a gap year, and then I ended up swapping unis, which you guys, if you've kept up with the channel and me, you know that story. But the second year, I've thought about whether I would have a do-over and kind of not. I've always wished, at least in the time of being at uni, that I'd want to kind of, if I could redo it, I would drop out after first year and then do the 2 years elsewhere, like here for example in Cardiff. But now looking back, I feel like I did a lot of personal growth, both during that second year and also because of it, like after the fact. Like, it was a rough time, but at the end of the day, like those like tough times, they often teach you things, whether you want to learn those things or not, and you just get more clarity from it. So I don't know if I would take back anything. I guess I would if I really tried to nitpick, but at the end of the day, there's no point dwelling on the past and wanting to take back stuff, because you can't. They're all hypotheticals. Why not just deal with the cards you've been dealt and move on? And that's very much where I'm at right now in headspace wise. And as well as that, now that like uni is all done, like the kind of question of would you take anything back, do you regret going to uni, I kind of don't want to dwell on that side of it and just be more happy that it is done, because the stuff I have taken from uni is still invaluable. It is just still very, very important that I take these lessons and use them in later life, because they are precious. And I don't want to paint it out like uni's the worst thing in the world. I mean, I've had a pretty shit experience, but uni is different for everyone. People have great experiences, people have worse experiences than me, and I want to make a whole video talking in depth about this topic. But when it comes to like learning disabilities and also mental health, that is still something that the education system has far from any understanding about how to deal with in a professional way, but in also a sentimental way, or a sensitive way is what I should say there. So I at some point I do want to make that podcast, or maybe even a proper video talking about it. But yeah, I do have like a learning disability that I don't know if I want to share what it is right now, but it is something that hinders like my classroom learning, and I wish it was something that I'd figured out that I had sooner. That's not me saying that I literally just figured it out this year. I've known that I've had it for a long time, but I didn't realise how much of a hindrance that it was until I realised that until I learned of the ways to prevent it are like just so helpful. I just wish I was aware of those like solutions towards it sooner, because the education system sure as shit had no clue how to help me with that stuff. And there's not much coverage on the internet or anything about how that works. I don't mean to sound cryptic, but if I want to share, you know, what I'm on about more in depth, then I will. But right now, all I'll say is just for people who are artsy, for people who are like have a creative streak, it isn't like a hard and fast rule, but people do always say that people who have learning disabilities of not any kind of, but of some kinds, most kinds really, are the ones with creative minds. Like I said, it's not a hard and fast rule. There are people from all walks of life with all sorts of different mental and learning hindrances, but it is something that I've realised that if you have a creative streak and you want to go into the arts, education system may not be for you. I wouldn't say rule it out entirely. I'd say ask your peers their 2 cents on it first, get some outside perspective on it, weigh out your other options, and if it's sort of reading the room of like what else you can do. That's just my 2 cents on that. That's like my advice. If anyone asks me kind of like, was uni worth it, should I go, should I, that's kind of I kind of give them the short version of that, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't take it back now that it's all done, because it's all done. I'm not going to be able to take that back, am I? So yeah, but yeah, I mean, it hasn't been all doom and gloom. I'm making it sound like it was the fucking worst thing in the world, which it wasn't. I've made some amazing memories during my time at uni. Some of it obviously had nothing to do with uni itself, but I still can't pretend that uni hasn't had some positives, in terms of some of the people I've met, some of the things I've been able to do, some of the opportunities, and also in some scenarios, uni has inspired me to do more creatively and push me more creatively. Sometimes not, but sometimes it has. So yeah, it's been an absolute roller coaster, I'll tell you that much. But I think the most healing and most creative sort of like thing that I have done was after I did take that year out and just started working on myself and also my creative endeavours, which was amazing. It was one of the best things I could ever have done. But yeah, uni's finished, graduation's done. I wore the big hat. I chucked it in front of the Millennium Centre building, which is just such a bucket list moment. Like, you know, the Millennium Centre at Cardiff Bay, that building has featured, and that in Cardiff Bay has featured in God knows how many videos now, like in the double digits now, hopefully, since I've been here. But that place is like my happy place, and it still is. So getting to like graduate and then also chuck my graduation hat in the air in front of that building and in that place in Cardiff Bay has always been a bucket list item for me. And the fact that I've done that now and I can tick it off and say that that's something that I did is absolutely blissful feeling. It is absolutely amazing to say that I've done that now. And yeah, now what I'm up to is just mellowing out, just letting these last few days soak in, and also get packing. Like, most of this room is packed now, it's just what you see behind me that isn't. I wanted to keep this setup behind me while I film these last few videos, and then from there I am indeed moving out. It's not long now, I think it's 2 days that I'm actually getting the last round of my stuff moved out. So yeah, these last 2 weeks have been especially weird because last 4 weeks actually now, because my computer went and packed up. It's not packed up as in it left and took the kids, no, but it did break. I've had it for what, 7 years, and this is the second time that it's broken this badly, so I've got to count myself lucky for getting my money's worth with the thing. But now my computer is not with me currently, so yeah, for these last 4 weeks, not having like a big computer screen to stimulate my brain has also made me more present in the moment, so I kind of appreciate the moment, because sometimes when you have too much technology in front of you, and I've mentioned this in previous podcasts actually, when I've spoken about taking like a week break or like a month break from social media and limiting my technology time, has been very liberating, and also just given me so much clarification about priorities, like how you shouldn't really be living your life vicariously online. You shouldn't be like, though it's good to like take a break from like life and just kind of turn your brain off and just watch content, just videos, and also scrolling through social media, just taking a break from that stuff so you can actually like just consciously breathe the air that's around you and just soak in the atmosphere, just listen to all of the sounds that are around you. Like it's just one of those things, and I don't want it to become this preach piece, but it's just so nice to not have, you know, a distraction like that around in this crucial moment of my life. Obviously it does make it a bit inconvenient when it comes to the sort of video production line on the ZT channel, but you know, I've made like a backlog of videos that go up on the channel at the moment, and they're starting to come through, and this will come through eventually, because my computer is getting repaired. It's not like it's gone forever. I hope it's getting repaired. If not, I'll have to edit it on my shitty little laptop, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there, won't we? But yeah, it's just the fact that I've got this disconnect from social media. Like, sure, I've got my phone and it's got access to all the social media platforms, but I made the conscious decision to like turn the notifications off on all of them, so I would only check my phone if I actively went on the app, which is such a fucking beautiful feeling, like not hearing like a bzz, bzz on your phone every time like someone messages you. So it's something I'd recommend you guys out there do if you feel like you're bit too trapped in your own head, or anything really. If you're just feeling a bit like you're in a rut, or you're feeling like you're going through Groundhog Day or something, I'd recommend just doing something simple like turning off the notifications on your phone, or I don't know, but yeah, it's a great feeling. It really is. Bottom line, great feeling. But yeah, it's great. It's honestly great. I mean, all right. Since this is like the uni wrap-up podcast, I may as well spend the next 10 minutes of this first half of the podcast just talking about uni in depth. Then we can move on. The second half can be all this other fun stuff that I've been up to, and maybe talk about some metal albums as well. Who knows? You guys like it when I do that, for sure. But let's wrap it up. So yeah, first year of uni. Made a few cool friends, made a few cool videos with them, Henry and Otis, and you know that era of the channel. Also met Adam back then. So going back to what I say about like would I take back uni? No, I wouldn't, because like I say, there are some valuable friends that I've made from my time at uni that I hope will be friends for life. Adam is one of them. But it's just, yeah, so like the first year, you know what's interesting? Uni has sort of like soaked up 4 years of my life, and yet, even though 4 years isn't really a long time in the grand span of the universe, first year of uni feels like a fucking lifetime ago. And though I don't really watch back my videos anymore, it's been a while since I have sort of like gone back and watched any old videos of my own, mostly because I want to live in the moment and I don't like looking at old videos of myself all that often, partially because of cringe, partially because I don't want to like compare myself to myself. That's a very, very unhealthy thing for you to do to your psychology. But my god, like literally I was just on the main page of YouTube and they'd recommended me, what did they recommend me? I think YouTube recommended me, it was either the room tour video from that year, you know, it's like the MTV Cribs spoof one, you know what I mean, it's a pretty popular video on the channel. It's either that one or it was the procrastination video that I'd watched recently. Like YouTube had kind of just stuck that on my suggested feed, and so I clicked on it, and like, because it was so far removed from me, like I'm watching myself in this video, and I've got like the old battle jacket on with like the Sabaton patch and the, like, you know, that battle vest. Like I had it throughout all of that era of the Flat K videos, because that's what people are calling them. And I'm like looking at it and I just feel like I'm a totally different person at that point, and I'm kind of just, I'm watching myself and I'm like, God, this is so far removed from me. Like, what am I thinking in this moment here? Like if I were to go back and watch an old podcast when I'm like just bantering with Henry and in like my old room from back then, it's just looking at myself from back then. It's like, I'm just a completely different person. Like, what is going through my head right now? What are like my mental priorities? It's just so fascinating to like, but that's one of the reasons why I don't really go back and watch my old videos too much, just for that exact reason. I don't want to get too bunged up and in my head psychoanalyzing my younger self, because you'll drive yourself mad. Yeah, it's just interesting to kind of do that. But first year comes and goes, and like I said, that stuff feels so far removed from me. In fact, like, even going further back to like the era on the channel where it is just primarily Doctor Who, like 2018, 2017, even back then, I feel like those videos, they feel like they're further away than they actually are. They feel like, I mean, 2017, that was fucking 7 years ago, I think. That stuff feels like it's 2 decades ago. It feels like a millennia ago, that stuff does. And I know that like that means bugger all when you think about it in terms of like, oh, like the longer, because there's this thing like the longer that you're alive, the further apart your experiences feel, because like just time dilation kind of extends because you've lived more life, therefore the entire perspective of like your lifespan extends by default. So your days feel shorter than they are because you've had more of them. It's that sort of theory there, and it's true. That's why like you feel like time flies when you get older, Whereas when you're younger, you feel like your weeks are stretching to like a year, you know? So it's just weird like that. And I didn't intend for this podcast to go so fucking deep down that rabbit hole or just deeply emotional, but it's just interesting to think about that. But yeah, so yeah, it's interesting to think about the first year of uni, because that it was a long time ago now, and yeah, and second year, I don't really like to talk too much about second year, but I guess I'll kind of say this, like, I wouldn't take it back nowadays, and I've said this because I did learn stuff from all those experiences that happened then. But yeah, it's interesting to look at that era, because like so much of that time was not really documented on the channel really, because though I was vlogging around that time, which is interesting to think about now, because like those vlogs from like second year of uni like practically captured none of like how I was actually feeling at the time, and it's just so wild to think about how much I've kind of locked away of what happened back then. It's just, yeah, I don't know how to really describe that, and I don't really know what to say with that, but it is interesting to say the least to think about that year of my life. But yeah, I mean the videos around that time were pretty sick. Like I did the Wheel of Dares video, which is still one of my favourite videos I've ever done. I also did, what did I do in that year? IRL Bingo was pretty good. What else did I do? The room tour videos that was from that era was quite good. I also, yeah, there were some bangers in that era of the channel. But then afterwards, I took the year out. I mean, first of all, I took a month break from making videos around that time. That was healthy of me, wasn't it? Silly me. Why am I being healthy? I should be grinding. I should just making content all the time. Yeah, obviously, like I took that break, and then when I came back, I felt energized. And obviously by the time I'd come back, I'd made the choice to take the year out after second year, which is probably why I felt more motivated to make more videos, because I'm like, yes, I can have a break from uni and all that stuff. And then that's when like some of my favorite videos started coming out, like the Alone short film. That film, I could go on like a whole fucking spiel about what went into that, but let's just say I wrote that short film back in the first year of uni when I was in a very dark headspace, and then it got translated into a dystopian apocalyptic future short film, which ended up getting nominated for an award at a film festival that I'm local to, which was an interesting full circle turn of events, sort of like wow moment really. It was really, really satisfying to have that one be nominated, because I did work hard on it. But yeah, around that time I also did the Unis Honest video. I also did the ZT Iceberg video. There's just a ton of things around that time that I feel quite fondly for. But and then that year was very productive for me, because I also did like other like projects that I wanted to explore creatively, and like I say, just worked on myself. And then the third year came around, and I obviously decided to transfer to one of my favourite cities for this final year of uni. Just the reason why I went back to uni, alright, I'll say this in the last like minute before the commercial break happens, is because I didn't want the first 2 years to be for nothing. And that's kind of it. It just so happens that I happened to choose, if we're going to do a final year at uni, let's do it somewhere I really enjoy. And so I picked Cardiff, which is where I am now. And so it was worth it, I'd say. Coming back for third year was definitely worth it for me. And there isn't much I'd take back from this year either. I feel like I did everything I could to make the best year for myself. But yeah, on that light note, I'm going to leave you now. I'm going to go on a commercial break. I guess you can just go enjoy this quick advert, and then I'll see you after that ad break, and I will join you back for the Amazon review of the week. So I'll see you in a few. Bye for now. Why, hello there.
a valued customer.
No.
Wait, no what?
No.
You don't even know why I'm here yet.
No.
How rude. Not even giving me a chance to speak.
No.
Honestly, I'm just trying to advertise this product to you.
Nope.
You don't have to shoot down the pitch before I say it. You don't even know what I'm advertising yet.
No.
Well, the thing that I'm advertising to you is such a delectable item. It is.
No.
How dare you cut me off like that? You know how much I work for this?
No.
Exactly. You don't know, do you?
No.
I tell you what, I paid so much money for this hat, this robe, this chain, these fake eyelashes.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Nope.
How dare you?
No.
Are you going to say anything other than no?
No.
Is no the only thing you can say?
Narp.
Oh, then what else can you say?
Nope.
Yeah, you've already said that word.
No.
Yes, you have.
Nah.
Yes, you have.
Nah.
Say a different word.
No.
Why not?
Nope.
That's not an answer.
No.
Why can you only say no?
What was the word?
No. We're just going around in circles here.
No.
Honestly, I don't even know why I bother with this. I didn't actually pay any money for this hat. I got it free with the university. I don't even know why I took this job. I'm clearly not getting anything from it. I think I might just go home.
No.
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 No?
No.
You want me to stay after all?
Nope.
Oh, well, fuck you then. I'll take my custom elsewhere.
Yeah. That actually worked. And welcome back from that commercial break. This Amazon review is of a medium ballpoint pen, and the title of the Amazon product is Great Product. Not so great name for the Amazon review, is it? And the review is by a keen skier. It goes thusly. My husband has never allowed me to write, as he doesn't want me touching men's pens. However, when I saw this product, I decided to buy it using my own pocket money. And so far, it has been fabulous. Once I had learnt to write, the feminine colour and the grip size, which was more suited to my delicate little hands, has enabled me to vent thoughts about new recipe ideas, sewing and gardening. My husband is less pleased with this product as he believes it will lead to more independence, and he hates the feminine tingling sensation, along with the visions of fairies and rainbows he gets whenever he picks it up. Wow. 563 people found this helpful. Well, thank you for that. Lovely review. So yes, there you go. That was also me done talking about uni pretty much. Now we're just going to ramble on about what I've been up to. So, what movies have I seen? Well, I've seen Spider-Verse. Everyone's fucking seen Spider-Verse and loves it. That's not a new opinion. But I do want to talk about it for a quick sec, because Into the Spider-Verse was one of my favourite films I'd ever seen, and then this one comes out of nowhere and somehow tops it. And people are somehow saying that this one isn't better than the first one. I strongly disagree. I think the art style of this new one is amazing. I think the idea of having a Spider-Man story being literally asking the question, is Spider-Man defined by its trauma, or are they just morally good from the off? That's something this film asks, and I don't think any Spider-Man film has done it since or before. But it's great. I love it to pieces. People are like saying that, the story isn't finished and that's why it's not as good. But it's the same with, like, people didn't fucking complain when Empire Strikes Back came out. That's not a finished story. It ends on a fucking cliffhanger. Luke loses his arm and realises his dad is an asshole. That doesn't seem like a conclusion of a story to me. No one kicked up a fuss about that. No one kicked up the fuss about Infinity War either, and they left that on a cliffhanger. Like, why is Across the Spider-Verse any different? I think that the criticism of the story not being finished is just stupid. It's just a null comment, and I don't think it's valid when comparing Across the Spider-Verse to Into the Spider-Verse. But then again, if you just like Into the Spider-Verse just because, that's your own prerogative. I love Into Spider-Verse too, but Across the Spider-Verse is better for me personally. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. That's my rant on Across the Spider-Verse done. I've seen it in cinema 4 times. It's that good. That's a clue enough as to how much I love it. But yeah, great stuff. What else has happened? Oh, okay, so old video, very old video on the channel. Power of the Daleks DVD review has finally reached 1,000 views, which is such a big thing for me. It may not fucking mean anything for any of you, but that DVD review that I did back in 2016, I want to say, that the Power of the Daleks review, when that came out, like, that video was like the first video of mine to actually like blow up overnight. Like, it got, I think it was 400 views in the first night, I believe. I don't think, obviously that's nothing compared to now, but like, that was a big thing for me at the time, because like, I know you're thinking, oh yeah, but the DVD review for 2016, that's got like over 1,000 before that one did. Yes, but the thing is that like, that video didn't just blow up overnight. Like, when I first posted it, it got like, I think 50 views, because it was the first video on the channel, and because it's the first video on the channel, I bet you anything those views that got it to 1,000 are just people that found my channel and then went back to the earliest part to see what my first video was like, probably. Whereas Power of the Daleks, that just blew up on its own. The YouTube algorithm just took it and ran with it, and hoisted it up to, it was 400 or 500 views. Obviously the views did kind of taper off. I think so after the first day it got 400 or 500, and then after the first week it got to, I think, 700, and then it just slowly has just been army crawling its way to 1,000 views ever since, and now it's finally hit it, which is a big thing for me, because like I said, that video, it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of the channel now, but at the time it was a big deal for me. So it's just nice to finally have that thing hit 1,000. Just my younger self, you know, it's nice to please my younger self mentally. It's like when I actually moved to Cardiff. Like, Cardiff as a place has always been a city that I've always loved ever since a young age, and to finally, it's almost like the bucket list item I was on about, like, to finally get to move to Cardiff and live here for a bit is just exactly what my younger self would have wanted me to do growing up. And the fact that I've done that, just like the fact that that video has now hit 1,000 views, it's just a nice, like, sort of like full circle thing that I know that the younger version of me would be so happy to see. So it's just nice to have that fulfilled. But yeah, tangents aside, what else have I been up to? I've been to a load of concerts. Let's talk about them. I've been to see Trivium. Let's talk about the Trivium concert first. I went and saw them in London. And who opened for them? It was Heaven Shall Burn and Malevolence, I think. And it was actually really great. I went with Joe and also our other mutual friends, and it was fucking amazing. It was such a great gig. Trivium has been a band that, like, I discovered at a similar time as Avenged Sevenfold, a bit later on. Like, Avenged Sevenfold I discovered 2012, 2013. Trivium was 2015, I want to say, so it's still a very long time now, and to finally get to see them live is kind of just like, yes, a band that really did shape my taste in music. I'm finally getting to thank them and buy their tour shirt and go and see them live and cheer along and sing along to every single fucking song they play, because that's how much I love them. It was great. It was honestly amazing. It was such a great experience getting to see them. I also got to see Party Cannon, one of my favourite death metal bands, with one of the best death metal logos. If you know, you know. Party Cannon's great. I love them to bits. It's just a funny B-movie death metal band, and it was such a fun vibe as well. It was like a small venue, but everyone was there for them. Everyone that was there fucking moshed their hearts out, and it was great. yeah, Party Cannon was a great experience too. I got a shirt of theirs and a patch of theirs just because their logo's that good. Amazing experience, absolutely amazing experience. Also got to see Cannibal Corpse in London. Obviously it would be a bigger gig because it's Cannibal Corpse. Another amazing time. Cannibal Corpse, much like Party Cannon, is one of my favourite death metal bands, go figure. And I'm very, very excited for when their album comes out later this year. I'm eagerly awaiting for the next single to come out. By the time this podcast's out, the actual album might be out, but as of right now it isn't, so sorry that I won't be able to cover the album in this video. But yeah, amazing experience once again. Also, Dark Funeral opened for them, which was amazing. Like, Dark Funeral was one of my favourite black metal bands, and the fact that they opened is just great show all around. It was such a good experience. But yeah, and then afterwards I went to see Carcass. I saw Carcass. Carcass is one of my favourite gigs I've ever been to, actually. It was like a medium-sized venue, smallish. It was small enough to where it was like intimate, and everyone that was going for Carcass. But it was also like big enough to where you're not cramped into a small little, like this high sort of like ceiling room. It was well worth it. It was such an amazing experience. The thing as well is that the day before, like, all of my trains were cancelled to get there, and I went on a fucking 2-hour coach ride just to see them. And I thought halfway through, really, am I really going 2 hours just to see Carcass? Got there, instant just gratification. This was worth it. This was worth the 2-hour coach ride there and back. Absolutely amazing experience. And yeah, Unto Others was an amazing opening act, and so was who was the other one? Conjurer. It was just a great show all around, and also the merch there was really fucking cheap. Like, oh sure, it's not cheap compared to what you buy online, but like usually at like a gig, like I went to the Cannibal Corpse one, I bought a tour shirt because I usually always do. I like to make a habit of doing that. The Cannibal Corpse one I think was £35. My Carcass shirt was 20 quid. How the fuck? Like, thank you, Carcass, for making your merch so cheap. I mean, Jesus. So, because I went to the gig thinking, okay, I've got 40 quid to spare on a piece of merch, and the fact that you have to set aside that sort of money just to afford to take something home from the gig, ridiculous how that's a thing that people are okay with concerts, but that's besides the point. I did that. When I realised the shirts are 20 quid, I'm like, excellent. Now what do I buy? I have extra cash, which is why I've got, let me just see if I can move this over there. I got the flag to go with it, and yeah, well worth it. Thank you, Carcass. You were an amazing gig. And the best part is I got to fist pump Bill Steer. It was great. It was great, and I managed to catch a guitar pick. It was such a good experience. But yeah, Carcass was amazing. One of my favourite gigs I've ever been to. I met a lot of friends there too, which I still talk to today. Great experience. And then the final one that I want to talk about is Iron Maiden. I made a video about them as well, so I don't really need to talk about it too much, but it was amazing. Iron Maiden always is. But one thing I didn't mention, actually, so yeah, the gig was great. I went to London, O2 Arena, great, cool stuff. And also the Raven Age opened for them, and they were surprisingly good. I went to see them with my dad, and my dad even enjoyed the Raven Age. That shows that if they get my dad's seal of approval, then they're a good band. That's just something I've come to learn and accept. But yeah, gig was great. They did mostly songs from Zenjitsu and Somewhere in Time, which I'm perfectly fine with. Love those albums. And then they leave, and then we have to go home. And because of the fucking London Northwestern train strikes, there were no trains home. And oh my god, what a fucking weird experience. It was horrid. It was horrendous. But we ended up literally sat in London Euston Station waiting for a bus replacement service for fucking hours. So for context, the gig ended at 11:15 because they were late coming out, and so we rushed across the London Underground to get back to catch one of the final trains home before midnight, because after midnight there are no trains. But all trains in that last hour just got cancelled, and we rushed all the way there just to figure that out. So we waited in Euston Station for fucking God knows how long for our first bus replacement service, which just so happened to be 2 o'clock. So we waited 2 hours patiently. We got there. The bus replacement service were crammed already, and they weren't letting anyone else on, even though there were seats free, which was stupid. And so we're like, oh, it's okay. You can get a taxi replacement service home if you want. You'll just have to fork out fucking £100 to get anywhere out of London, which is obviously how taxis work in London, which fucking blows. But obviously that didn't work out, evidently. So what did me and my dad do? We waited at London Euston Station till 7 in the morning for the first train to leave the station the next day. I'm not kidding. It was horrendous. It wasn't just us. It was like 100 other poor souls that had come back from the Iron Maiden gig or back from fucking work or something horrid like that. Poor bastards. And so that's what we did. It was actually horrendous, and the fact that the train service can just do that, horrendous experience. It was god awful. Oddly enough, though, it still was worth it because I had a great time at Iron Maiden. I got Alexander the Great. If you can you look at the bottom, please? Yes, there you go. Alexander the Great. It says it on the bottom there, and obviously Alexander the Great is one of my favourite Iron Maiden songs, and they obviously played it live on the night, which I wasn't expecting, and so I'd obviously went to the merch stall beforehand, going, oh, Alexander the Great shirt, gimme, and so I bought it, and then they went and played it live too, which was just yes, it was just such a great experience to get to see that song live. But yeah, that was Iron Maiden. What gigs have I got up next? There's a potential of me being able to see Judas Priest next year, actually. There's also a chance I'll be seeing Dream Evil later in the year. I don't know whether that's happening yet or not, but yeah, there's a chance. And also I'm seeing Madness as well in December, the really famous ska band. The only stuff people know them for is like Must Be Love and Our House, but I know them for more than just that. They're a really fun band that me and my dad used to listen to together, and my mum actually, at a very young age. At my young age, not their young age. Even though they probably did listen to them when they were young, but I wouldn't know. Anyway, that's all that rambling aside. So those are the gigs I went to. More to come, hopefully, for me. I love concerts. Live music just is one of the simple pleasures in life that you just can't underestimate how much joy it will bring you. Like there's a local brown pub is what us yobbos call it, a round pub. Like it's an old-fashioned pub basically. It's the good pubs, the pubs that have pool tables and just dartboards and a main stage where people can do open mics, etc. And I just popped in one night and randomly, and there was a jazz band playing, and my god, what a great experience that was, seeing live jazz. After that, I've just been looking for any like free local venues that are doing live jazz, just because it was such a gorgeous experience to be able to sit in a room and have that music play to you as you watch these fucking talented musicians play their hearts out. It was such a beautiful experience. If you're a metalhead, and this is something that I've obviously learned in the last 2 years, maybe more than that, don't just limit yourself by just listening to heavy music. Let your mind be open to the concept of listening to other genres. I was a bitter little snarky little metalhead back in, I want to say 2019, 2020 maybe, where I was like, metal's the best genre. And though it is, it's not the only genre. There are genres out there that will give you deep joy. The only genres that you gotta worry about is the oversaturated like radio music, and you know what I mean when I say that. It's just the sort of like radio produced crap, like the record labels like just artificially put together. If you manage to siphon your way through that sort of crap, then you find great genres and artists just all over the place that you end up accidentally loving. Classical music I've always loved. Jazz is fucking amazing. And there's even stuff in electronic that I've come to like just by me loving like industrial. Like I've always loved industrial because Nine Inch Nails, but ever since like I've opened my mind more to all the genres that you could listen to that aren't metal that you could enjoy, I fall in love with Daft Punk. Daft Punk is amazing. Like, you're only limiting your own human experience by pigeonholing yourself into one music genre. Obviously metal's the best. Heavy music is my thing. I mean, if that wasn't obvious enough by what's behind me, or just entirely what half of this channel has been about for the last fucking 5 years. But it's just, you don't want to limit yourself either. Like I say, like I think that's all I have to say about it, really, is just that. But like, I've never been someone that's been hard pressed against every subgenre or genre in general. Like I say, I've always loved classical music, and I used to like rap a bit, and now I'm kind of getting back into it slowly. I'm kind of dipping my toes in. I'm kind of finding the good rap. You know what I mean when I say that. And maybe when I'm more educated on that stuff, that's a video I can make about it. But until that day, yeah, it's just one of those things. You want to have your mind open to the possibility of any piece of music surprising you positively. It's just, you got to look out for the right stuff, and you got to be skeptical, because there is lots of stuff in the music genre. The music genre in general is very oversaturated, and I'm sorry for being on my soapbox about this, but because it's so saturated, there's stuff in there that anyone can enjoy, right? Like in any genre. So, like I say, something as left field as something I'd never expect that I would enjoy, that being one of those things, is electronic. And little did I realise just how blurred the lines are nowadays between electronic and industrial, means there's lots of crossover and lots of room for me to enjoy what's in electronic. So yeah, if there's one word of advice, just, test the waters. Don't get too stuck in your ways, I guess, is kind of my advice. And it's advice that I would have given myself back when I was a little shitty little piss boy metalhead. And only a metalhead. I am still metalhead, by the way. I've not turned into a poser, guys, I promise. My favorite bands and artists are still metal. But yeah, I'm just, it's just nice to also experience everything that's out there and kind of formulate your own opinion, because I feel like a lot of people, when they like something, they don't even try anything that's different from it, because they have this preconceived notion that it's bad, or they know that they won't like it. Whereas if they try it themselves and formulate their own opinion on it, then they might be surprised, which is what I've been doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it there. I'm sorry to get on my soapbox about that again, but let's talk about music real quick. There are some albums that have been coming out recently that I do want to put my 6th sense on. Let's go through it. So the new Metallica I'm going to talk about, the new Overkill, the new Cattle Decapitation I want to talk about, and obviously the new Avenged Sevenfold. You're probably sick of me talking about that album, but I'm going to talk about it a bit more in this podcast, so beware. I know there's more albums that have come out since then, but these seem like the most important ones to talk about. Let's talk about 72 Seasons first. So yeah, with Metallica, I don't want to piss anyone off. I still like Metallica, but I feel like I've kind of grown past them. I feel like my musical taste has kind of expanded beyond them. That isn't to say that the albums they've made that are good aren't still good, and I still do really enjoy them as a band, but I don't ever find myself going back to their catalogue very much anymore, with the exception of a few songs. Like Ride the Lightning, an amazing album. Same with And Justice for All and Kill 'Em All, and not forgetting Master of Puppets, but I never really had any emotional attachment to that one. There are some good songs on there, don't get me wrong, but it just is what it is. And there's even some good songs on the Black Album, but then after that it's very hit and miss. So like the next album after that in their catalogue that I really do enjoy anyhow is Death Magnetic. And actually, wait, is a good thing to mention. I was literally just on Twitter of all places, yeah, and I read something about when people were. I read on like a thread about what people were thinking about the new Metallica, and someone summed it up perfectly. and this isn't a diss to Metallica or people who like Metallica, because Metallica is a good band. There's a reason why they're famous. But the person said, I don't know their name, I wish I could credit them, but they are so true. They said that Metallica is the industry standard of metal. And there's nothing wrong with that. They managed to formulate an entire subgenre of metal, and now they're reaping the rewards of that. And that's fine. That's fine. Anyone who loves Metallica, great. All power to you. But I feel like most of the 72 season songs feel like they could have just been B-sides from Hardwired. That's not to say that the songs on 72 seasons are bad. It just means like it feels like it all sounds very similar, and I hate to be the guy that's like all metal sounds the same, but no, I feel like the last two, to an extent, 3 albums of Metallica have sounded the same, though I do really like Death Magnetic. I do feel like Hardwired and 72 could have been just part A and part B of the same album. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like Lux Eterna. People like to meme on that song, but I really enjoyed that one. I also really liked Screaming Suicide. Is that what the song's called? The second single. And then I also quite enjoyed the title track, actually. The title track's quite good on that album. But it all just sounds like retread in that way for me. But yeah, that's all I'll say. I did enjoy it, but I don't see myself going back to it and listening to it again, bar like one song maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. As for Overkill, Scorch, I guess it's kind of the same. I love Overkill, but they have made a fucking ton of albums. They're just a content machine. But with the ethos with Overkill, because they've made so many, it's clear that the guys in Overkill just fucking love making albums. And it's clear that whenever they make an album, they're just there to have fun and write music. And all power to them. I fucking love bands that just do that. They just sit down and go, let's make an album, it'll be fun too. And that's what Scorch feels like to me. All of the albums that they've done, they just sound like good, fun, party pizza thrash metal, and that's exactly what Overkill is, and it doesn't need to be anything more than that. But Overkill also is responsible for making one of my one of my favourite albums of all time, that being Years of Decay. They've also they're just a pioneering thrash metal band, and they're part of the Big Seven, I guess you'd call it, if you include like Testament and Exodus. So they deserve the respect, and especially with the amount of albums they've made, they are hard workers. So the fact that Scorch exists, like, I'm very, very happy about. But it does sound like they haven't expanded their sound too much in that way. But bands don't always have to do that, and I don't mean to be talking one way about Metallica and another way about Overkill if they're like similar situations. But with Overkill, like I say, it sounds like they just have fun making albums. Whereas Metallica, like, how long was it since Hardwired? Hardwired was what, 2016? So what, we wait 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 7 years. We wait 7 or 8 years. Or was it 2012 that Hardwired came out? I don't know, but we wait a fucking long time, like, between Hardwired and this, and it's like, this is the best you can come up with in that time, Metallica. Whereas Overkill, like I said, is a content machine, and they've been around less time than Metallica, and yet they've made way more albums. And yeah, it's just, I think it's different, in my opinion, and you can call me like a hypocrite in that way if you want, for like treating Overkill one way and Metallica the other, but it is how I feel. I feel like Overkill, they have fun making the albums, and you just want to like cheer them on, you know. And yeah, I don't know. Scorch was good, and also Twist of the Wick is one of my favourite songs to come out this year. Is absolutely brilliant. I love it to pieces. Also, The Surgeon. a song that is near and dear to my heart now. If you know, you know. Yeah, I like Scorch. I like their album Scorch. It's just fucking fun. It's fun thrash metal, and if that's all Overkill wants to be, then that's all they have to be. But then going back to Metallica, Metallica is Metallica, one of the biggest metal bands of all time. But like I say, they are the industry standard of metal, so maybe they have like a quota to fill whenever they make an album. But I don't know. I'm just riffing here. I'm just a sad twat that shares his opinions that no one asked for, you know? Who asked? No one. I'm talking about it anyway. Literally, sum up the channel in one word, one sentence. But yeah, now we move on to Cattle Decapitation with their album Terrorsight. One of the fucking coolest extreme metal albums I've fucking ever heard. Cattle Decapitation has quickly become one of my favourite bands. The more that I've listened to their stuff, the more I just fucking adore them. If you're new around here, I love bands that just experiment with their sound and just push the boat out and try something different each time, hence why I love Avenged Sevenfold so much and Bloodbath so much. And Cattle Decapitation is the same story. For the uninitiated, Cattle Decapitation started as a grindcore band, but obviously that's very much not what they are now. They've been grindcore, they've been porno grind, they've been death metal, they've been fucking industrial. They're doing all this weird stuff, and this new album is no different. It's dynamic, it's got orchestral sounds, it's got pianos. I'm having a stroke trying to explain this. But the fact that this band is experimenting so much, despite them being in the niche that they are, shows just the boldness of wanting to create weird fucking bad shit crazy music that will just shock everyone and anyone that listens to it, whether you're a fan of the grindcore or not. You're going to be shocked with what happens in this album. And yeah, I love it. It's great. If you're a fan of like extreme like death, black metal, that sort of area of stuff, but you want something more than just that cookie cutter stuff, listen to Cattle Decapitation. I'd say Death Atlas is a good album to listen to of theirs, but this one is also amazing as well. And that's my 2 cents on it. Hopefully you'll go and listen to Cattle Decapitation now. Listen to their latest 2 albums especially. These last 2 have been amazing. And then finally, speaking of bands that like to experiment and do weird fucking shit, Avenged Sevenfold, Life Has But a Dream. I have been on my soapbox about this album God knows how many times now, but I'm going to do it one more time. This is one of my favourite albums of all time. I imagine it always will be at this point. I see this aging like fine wine. I see all of these songs being some of my favourites of all time. I love this album to pieces. It is amazing. There's a reason why I own it as a vinyl and as a CD. Really dropped everything over there. It's just been... I've just been spamming the album ever since it came out. But yeah, if you want my in-depth analysis on what I think of the album, there's a whole video of me talking about it on the channel. You'll find it. It's on the timeline. It's not too far down. And if you can't be bothered to search for that, then there is another video coming out hopefully soon that I'm planning to film and edit, where I re-rank all of Avenged Sevenfold albums from my least favourite to favourite, because my opinion has changed, in which I include that album. And also re-rank the songs as well, because there are new songs to put in the ranking. So that video will come out soon, hopefully. I don't know when I'll do it. Maybe after I've moved. But yeah, at some point soon. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. And as we hear the ambient sounds of a train passing my window once again, we finally bid farewell to this podcast. This episode of the podcast is done. The podcast itself isn't done. I'm hoping to do more once I move out. But yeah, we're pretty much done here, I think. I think that's all I had to say for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. It got a bit deep at the start there, but then we brought it back home to just being about some music, which is great. That's about it. Thank you for continuing to support me on my journey. Currently, as I'm recording this, I've just hit 850 subscribers. By the time this comes out, we might have hit 900, we might not have, I don't know at this point, because the rapid growth of this channel is just so unpredictable. And I just, in the last 2 years, we've gone up fucking 450 subs strong now, and now we're probably going to be hurdling face first into 1,000 subs here shortly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised in the next year or two if we've hit it. I don't know though. You can't predict it, you just gotta take it in your stride and go along for the ride. Hey, that rhymes. But yeah, we're done here. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. No! The channel's eligible. Oh, big news for the channel. I'm here to announce that the YouTube channel is now eligible to be part of the YouTube AdSense partner program. For the people who aren't nerds or YouTube rabbit holers, that means that I can earn money from making these videos, theoretically. I don't know whether that'll actually happen because I haven't actually signed it yet. But apparently one of the criteria for doing that is to hit 1,000 subscribers. But another way to hit it, which is the way I hit it, is by reaching a certain quota of so many views or certain amount of watch time per video. And apparently I passed that quota, which now means that I can go and sign on to be part of the partner program. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to keep you guys updated along for the ride. I'm going to let you know how it goes. And yeah, hopefully this is the bright future ahead. And I'm going to try not to I'm not going to turn into a sellout, hopefully, when this channel starts getting ads or just sponsored deals or anything. And that's just me wishful thinking whether that stuff will happen. But if it does, please have faith in me that I don't turn into a sellout and start just endorsing shit that has no relevance to the channel or the video. I'm going to try and keep my integrity when it comes to that stuff, but it will be a learning curve for me, so bear with me if stuff does start to change on the channel in that regard. But hopefully the videos won't really change. I'm still hoping to only make videos that I want to make, but in the way that I make them, I don't know, it might change. I don't know what will be affected and what won't. We'll have to just test the waters and see what happens. Like I say, I'll keep you updated either on the community tab or in podcasts, I don't know. But yeah, it is kind of nice that hopefully there is the chance of me earning money from the videos so that it becomes more sustainable, so that I get to keep making videos at the rate that I have been for you guys, because it is something I enjoy doing. But yeah, I'm done now. I'm done talking, and this podcast is done. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoy the sound of that train whizzing past the window once again. And I will end it here. Once again, thank you so much for the support. It has been wild, and I hope that you're going to continue to follow what I do from here on, because this is a turning point for the channel. It's the end of an era and the beginning of a new one soon. So I hope you'll be ready for that with me. I hope I'm ready for that. And I will see you guys in the next video, I guess. Yeah, goodbye.